I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
And that little girl was me.
You know, this my little thing. Okay. If you should ask for custody if the child is in danger and she's not fit to be a mother, right? And you have direct proof to verify that. Do not use a child as a pawn.
What the impacts of slavery, of what racism, what capitalism has done to Black people. So for him to have this opportunity to really give a moment to say, you are correct, we must figure out a way to understand Black people today. Instead, he laughed at him and made it a novelty and said, you really drank the Kool-Aid. So
Yeah. This is also about men trying to control the sexual desires and activities of their daughters because they want them to grow up to be a certain kind of woman. They want them to be domestic, they want them to be docile, they want them to be subservient, and they want them to be submissive, right? And so that is not, when you get a woman, that's a wild woman rising, you don't know what to do with her because she is not living out your narrative and you're not able to control her.
Well, let's be clear. I always tell people we have to be real mindful of the Hispanic culture because Hispanics come from different places. Two demographics of Hispanics that vote Republican. Pretty sure the Hispanic coalition in Florida that he's meeting with is predominantly Cuban and Venezuelan because those
Can I buy a vinyl?
You know, can I buy a?
So well versed and so phenomenal. Whether you work on a register or you're in the C-suite, you have a skill set that's so needed that someone is willing to rent your time. They are leasing your time. Figure out your promise first, not your product. What is your promise?
And so when we're talking about facing challenges of people at high risk and targeted groups and minority population, it's trauma. So you got to think about what this person brings to the table. We're not always going to get it right. One thing that we as society don't want to appreciate anymore is apologizing. I apologize. I'm sorry. And so those words, I'm sorry, are so powerful. And so individuals don't expect everybody to get it right. But when you apologize and you're really listening to try to be better, then you do better.
Safely, when it's all said and done, the police is going to protect the state. And that is why the slaughter of Black bodies and Black people at the hands of the police is such an epidemic because they are trained and they commit to a training of policing.
So my book is about my struggle, but how I overcame it. And to let Black women know, and just women of all colors. And I'm not going to just say that it's just for Black women, but Black women, we need this. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. It's okay to go get help. If you can't have a child, that means your vagina is no better or no worse than the next person. Okay?
Well, welcome. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Truth to Power. I am Dr. Matthews, the accountability specialist. We also have co-host Mr. Wendell King, who is the communication specialist. And then we have a guest host, Mr. Marcus Esther Esquire. Hello.
Good evening. Good evening.
What's going on, Brother Marcus?
How are you all doing? Thank you all for having me on the show. I'm glad to be here.
Well,
Thank you for squeezing us into your very busy schedule. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have a friend or a foe, or if it is you yourself that is in need secretly, make sure that you buzz in to Marcus Esther at Esther and Esther, where he can make a better you. Okay?
What kind of law he practice?
Make sure y'all share.
Yeah.
Okay.
What type of law? I'm sorry, I butted in. What
you good? I do mainly criminal defense, but I also take on different civil cases. So whatever you need, just hit me up and I got you.
Oh,
so well, he's really everything. He's modest because he, when you go to law school, you major. You major in a particular area, but this brother is, I'm sure, he can tap into your constitutional law, entertainment law, whatever. As long as it has law in it, hit him up, give him a week. He got you. But while you're hitting them up and giving them a week, make sure y'all share, and like. We're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Make sure you pop, like. And on YouTube, take a second to subscribe. And we can definitely give you what you need, because here at Truth to Power, we believe that everything should be uncut and raw. Because if you didn't want it to be stated, you should have kept it quiet. We're going to talk about it. Now back to Brother Marcus. Brother Marcus, can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we really jump into hot topics?
I got you. And thank you for that wonderful advertisement. I'm gonna go ahead and loop you in when I make my first commercial. But my name is Marcus Esther. I am a criminal defense civil attorney, Houston, Texas, but I also practice in surrounding counties. Graduated from Thurgood Marshall School of Law at Texas Southern University, 2018. 2015, got my undergrad degree there. Started my own firm, the Law Office of Marcus Esther, PLLC, right here in Houston. 2 years strong, taking on various cases on various court appointment rosters as well. I'm just out here fighting for the people. They need a young Black brother to represent them. That's me. That's what I do. I'm out here making a difference.
Yeah, and he's not a residency type of attorney, guys. I want you to know, if you need someone, I don't care what it is. One of his first, probably top 5 cases was he was playing around with a murder trial. So this is a man that is not afraid to get his hands dirty. And if you want one of the best attorneys that Texas has to offer, don't fear his age, fear prison. And know that he can keep you and your family from it. Amen. Now let's jump into some hot topics.
He's fulfilling the bail reform, huh?
Hey, I'll fight.
Yeah, Dr. Matthews, yeah.
I had to throw that slug in there because we got some of them that's not.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. I've seen it. I've seen people out here trying to fight against the bill.
That's not either, and that's a whole nother story.
It is, and it's not on hot topics tonight. But what is on hot topics is somebody who probably needs your services. Can we please talk about Bootsy and MOD?
MO3.
Sorry.
Okay, so MO3, for those of you that are watching, is like one of the upcoming rappers that, everybody in the hood, you can play this song in the club, everybody can relate to it, everybody ain't your friend, everybody ain't your partner. That's it. That's MO3 all day long. And matter of fact, him and Bootsy did a collab together. And also he's one of Bootsy's artists. So he was the young man that ended up getting shot and killed on the freeway in Dallas last week. And prior to that, he slapped some guy in the face and I guess manhandle him. And how they say, you turn around and you do this, you don't know which way they're going to come next. And so clearly they were trying to assault him on the freeway. And then when he jumped out of the vehicle and they downed him right there on the freeway. Mm-hmm. So then Bootsy come down. Okay, so you already know. We all
Wait, they downed him. Wait, back up. What does downing him mean? Shot him.
Shot him.
But not
Where's your
kill him.
heart at, Wendell?
But it didn't kill him.
Hard?
But it didn't kill him, right?
No, he's dead.
He's dead.
MO3 is dead.
So down. He's down.
Wait a minute. So Wendell, you telling me you don't know that, and you from Mason Road and Homestead?
I come from a sheltered family.
Lied you tell.
Northside terminology. Come on.
I don't know why Wendell over here trying to play these shenanigans.
But when you said down, I thought down mean like shot him down. I didn't know it mean dead and gone down.
Okay. So I'm gonna charge that to your ignorance because not your heart. Because
I'll take that. I'll let that go to the ignorance.
Northside. You come on now. You know you're Northside G. Come on. So anyway,
I wish I would have used my context clues.
But anyway, so Bootsy, Bootsy's artist, and Bootsy, we all know, like he has a history, a violent history. So by him being the OG that he is, he came down to Dallas with the foolishness and got shot in the leg.
So Bootsy went to Dallas to regulate for his friend that was downed.
Yeah.
And then they shot him in the leg. That should be funny though. That should be funny. What is Dwayne Wade's son name? Zion. I know Zion was up like who said?
But see, my whole deal is this: is that okay? First of all, you are a OG, right? Which means it's certain things that you really don't have to do. So you really didn't have to do it.
It's beneath him. Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna talk about street code. Let's just be clear. Like you really don't have to do that. So, but wink, wink. I don't know nothing about that. So, anyway, so
you shady Faye. We know you. But wait. But I want to know, Attorney Esther. Do you know anything about this story?
I mean, I just heard a little something here and there, and just observing from the world's best news source, Twitter.com. I saw the video of the young man of MO3 who was shot. People always recording it, so they had him on the highway. But then Boosie responds and say, I'm coming down there. So he pulls up, gets shot, and then the world is just like, bro, why did you go down there? MO3 was a young man, Boosie way older than him. So I really don't see, why is Boosie trying to involve himself in this situation here? And I mean, it's as we said earlier, it's just street politics, street stuff. So Boosie really had no business going out there. And I think Boosie was like the third person shot in Dallas within like the last 3 weeks. Like it was just
also Dallas been having some things going on.
Dallas been popping off.
Wild Wild West, and they're not playing. And so
I always say Dallas is the New Orleans of Texas.
Well, baby, the way how they acting. And my thing is, Boosie, you're an OG. You don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
Like clearly, that's not even OG status. What you went down there and got shot in your leg. That's weak.
But Boosie does a lot of things that should be beneath him, and that's not his business. But I think that's what's keeping him relevant right now. Also.
Oh, just like him wearing a kappa.
He wore a kappa. Then he wants to tell Dwayne Wade how to raise his child, and like he went and got a 25-year-old prostitute for his 12-year-old son. Like he's fighting for relevancy.
Yeah, you might want to.
Now Boosie would be that'll be a high figure.
Ooh.
Boosie, if you listening right now, call me. Boosie, I got you. Call me right now. I got you, brother.
And one of Boosie hoes, call me and I'll hook y'all up with him. And then when I get with Marcus, he's gonna tell y'all $500 more than what he charged because I'm gonna need my transactional fee.
I got you. Yeah, I got you with that.
Good. We good. Well, Boosie. Long story short, Boosie, mind your own damn business. As always, you are running around worrying about somebody else's business, and here you go limping for life because he already frail.
You don't see Jay Prince doing that. You don't see that.
Oh, that's Jay Prince.
Jay Prince is just straight up like this. Say, And he's very calm, model tone kind of guy. And he'll tell you in a minute, you might want to, I'm not going to get in the pig pen with you because I'm going to let you know now, bad news going to come to your door. Yep. So that's all you got to say right there.
But Jay Prince is a real hood nigga. I hate to say it like that. Like he really is. No, but Jay Prince is a boss. Boosie isn't a boss. You know, there's a difference. Like Jay Prince made that. Remember, he did that audio for Puff Daddy when Puff Daddy was beefing with Drake, and Jay Prince went smooth on like, yeah, you mess with Drake, you mess with me. That's like my son. Feel me? You know, like. And first off, Jay Prince is an honorary degree alumnus of Texas University, so we should not even be talking about Jay Prince right now. Let's move on to the interim superintendent of Houston Independent School District by the name of, and she has such a beautiful name, Granita.
You say Greta?
Lord.
I'm dead.
Let's talk about Granita.
Because I am dead. And so, that's my sorrow too. Don't be messing her name up.
Granita. She's your what?
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, Sister Granita Latham, once again was caught with swine flu because she believed that people are going to change their stripes. When Maya has already told us, when someone tells you who they are, believe them the first time. And she went out for HISD superintendent yet again, and they slapped her in the face yet again because they have made it very clear that they want Latinos to be the superintendent of their school district because they are 75% Latinx. And she thought that she could change their minds by giving them all of her secrets, when instead she gave them a blueprint. Dr. Matthews, I know you love Houston politics, so go with it.
Well, first of all, they really should have gave her that position because she has the skill set. She had brought that district out of a bad situation with TEA. She then brought several schools under her leadership out of issues that TEA was having to try to do a takeover of that specific district. And I think that is a slap in the face because by her doing this, and then all of a sudden you want to tell her to reapply, like I think that is just unacceptable. It's racially charged. In fact, let's look at who all voted against her. Let's look at that one.
We have a list of it.
Oh, yes, we do.
I'm a little lost. I'm sorry. I'm looking like, where is it at?
It's loading up.
Yeah, it's loading up.
Well, I'm thinking we're having some technical issues.
Oh, but this
ain't real technical. Yeah.
Because you know I get all the tea, honey. And baby, I got all the tea on who did the voting and who did
well,
what.
While we're waiting on it to load up, let's discuss who it was. Anybody with a Latin last name voted against her, and anyone with an American last name voted for her. So she had like 4 votes, right? In favor.
Oh, don't leave out the Asian too.
But didn't the Asian vote for her?
No, baby, against her. Yeah. And everybody that voted for her was black.
So Daniels, Adams, and Allen. All of our favorite slave ships names voted for her. But all of the Cruz, Hernandez, Song, there we go, Song voted against her. So, but here's my thing with this list. I'm not surprised. And I think that what Granita has to understand is something that a lot of Black people have to understand. And I'm not trying to make this about that, but the slug that is coming is just saying that when we stop going to other races seeking validation and start bringing our talents, our skills, and our education to the Black communities and to Black folk that will praise us, we will find a different outcome. So she was over there fighting to try and get them to agree to make her something that they've already told us they're not going to do. Like they have told us they're not going to do. So what is up? Like, Brother Marcus, do you have any opinions of this? Do you know anything about this story?
It's just, and as you said, I'm not hurt and I'm not shocked. It's because I really felt like it was a pride thing for her to go out again, even though they said, "Hey, we don't want you," and to go out again thinking that you can just implement your own policy when the people have spoken. You know, you're going to get hurt, just like Donald Trump. You're going to get hurt. But I didn't want to compare it to that. But you're going to get hurt. So at the end of the day, when the people speak, you need to listen. Find another spot that you can serve in, because clearly they didn't want her back here.
Well, they need to be held accountable, though, at the end of the day, because, I mean, I'm looking at what she has done for this district to bail them out to where it prevented a TEA takeover. And I'm like this here. When I see racism, I believe in calling it out. Don't you go no damn well.
I believe in it also, but what law did they break? But I believe in accountability also, but where did they lack accountability? Because under the law, they didn't do anything illegal. They voted and she did not get it. They didn't break a law.
No, it's not about breaking the law. It's about, let's look at the systemic racism here. Okay, y'all did this because y'all clearly do not want a Black African-American woman that's going to be the superintendent over one of the largest school districts in the nation.
Well, it's the third largest school district in the nation.
I'm like, call them out.
But it is also a school district that is 75% Latinx. So I think, well, I don't think that it's systemic racism. I do think that there is I think there is an institutional prejudice there, but I don't think that it's systemic racism. I don't think it was because she was Black, because they also have had a white person that they shunned, and they had a gay Latin man that they shunned. So the reality is there's an institutional issue here.
She's Black and she's a woman, and that list showed it right there. And I'm like this here, I ain't going no damn well. I'm going to call y'all asses out and we're going to appeal this. And that's what it is.
Well, I think that she can appeal it, but she's going to appeal it to Latins. Because I don't know if you remember 2 years ago when Jolanda Jones cut up at that board meeting, but it was filled with the Latinx community. And they were telling her, girl, we don't care what you're talking about. We feel like we need a Latin person running the school district where the majority of this district is Latinx. And here's the split side. And this is why Black people sometimes get mad at me when I say stuff like this, but it's the truth when you just really accept it. We don't want if TSU was to, if Texas Southern University was to say we have a Latin president that we chose, we will act a damn monkey. We would act a fool if you chose a Latin person or a white person to become president of Texas Southern University. We don't care if it's a diverse institute, but we don't care if it's a diverse institute. We know that it is the majority.
Listen to this. It is an HBCU. Of course, you gonna turn around and be like, hell no. But HIZ is not no HBCU.
But it's still diverse. No, but it's still a diverse. But it's a designated university, and it is very diverse in its culture. So one would say that it should be okay. Well, what you're saying is what I fight against, right? And what I'm saying is that we have to start understanding that they have the same rights that we have. When we feel like Black people should lead our Black people, then they have the right to say they want because the reality is Latinx is not getting the pump that they deserve either. So I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them.
That's going to mess up the Black and Brown coalition that we actually have, because baby,
I don't want a Black and Brown coalition. That's a whole other show.
Dr. Matthews, let me just say this, because I see, in our society, we seem to overlook a lot the people that actually do the work, because a lot of times we just care about the look. How do we feel? We never really focus too much on the work that someone has done. And I agree with you. She has done so much to build, to take out HISD and, push it forward. But then the people we don't really care. And I'm not saying I don't care, but it's just, when the community doesn't look like the leader, they want to try to get someone that looks like the
community want her there. The issue is it's the board members that don't want her there.
No, but the community didn't either. That's not true. The Black community wanted her there.
But that last thing that they had the other day, they had a lot of community members that were very upset.
Yeah, but their board meetings are live. No. But their board meetings are live, and the Hispanics in that community want a Hispanic leader. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. What I'm saying is that they have the right to want someone that looks like them. Just like we want people that looks like us in these positions, they have the right to want someone that looks like them.
Well, I don't think she should have been used like a $2 hoe.
But she chose to be used because she knew. Because she chose to be used.
They used her. That's my opinion. They used her like a $2 hoe.
But she chose to be used. If you let me put you, Dr. Matthews, if you let me slap you every Monday at 5:00 p.m., is it my fault after a year of slapping you every Monday at 5 p.m. that I'm slapping you, or do you have to take some accountability also at the fact that you let me slap you every Monday at 5:00 p.m.? She knew what she was walking into.
This time.
But she knew what she was walking into, and she thought that she had a superpower, and they showed her that she did not. How about stop trying to force ourselves into spaces that simply don't want us and go where we are wanted?
Well, then if that's the case, they don't want us in the White House and we forced ourselves in that.
That's not well, we forced the old white man, so that's not true. That debunks everything you just said. But let's look at what Willow just posted.
We forced the very first African-American vice president female.
Yeah, but that was because it was going against Trump. But let's read what just came. And it was also because the old white woman opened up the chandelier for her to break it down. But look at this. Look at this. We have American Indian 355 students. African American 51,437, Asian 8,573. Here we go. Hispanic, Latino 132,449. Okay, so that shows you what their student population and parental population is based on.
I understand that, but at the same time, I'm still going with what I said. This woman brought this district to prevent them from having a TEA takeover. Y'all should have gave this lady the job. She proved that she had the skill set to do it. But no, you want to get somebody else who gonna turn around and get your ass in trouble again.
And well, I think the end result to this is that we're not monoliths, so we all have different opinions on it. Because I agree with you that she is a strong Black woman, and she's done great things for the district, and she probably could have done even more. But I also agree that they have the right to want somebody that looks like them, because they have the numbers, and public schooling get paid off of bodies sitting in chairs. So they have the power of the bodies because they triple the amount of Black people in that district.
I get what you're saying about that, but I'm looking at this. Your asses was already in trouble. TEA was going to take over the whole district. And this lady came in with her skill set, showed up, showed out, under her leadership, gotten plenty of schools.
Where did she work before she became superintendent? Before she became interim superintendent, where did she work?
She was a principal.
At what school?
In HISD.
In HISD. So my point is, she was a part of that issue that existed before she became superintendent. We often give the power to the person that is the face. But the reality is the number one issues that was going on with TEA did not fall necessarily in her lap. It fell in the lap of another Black woman. I just want to be clear. Her name is Dr. Clarkson, but I'm not trying to go into that because that's a whole nother story. But just know that it was a community that took them out of the TEA default, which they are still in. They have not come out of it all the way. She just got them where they got an appeal passed. There's a difference. So I agree with you. I just feel like they have the right to want something to look like them.
Dr. Goffney, who's the superintendent of Aldine ISD, where they have majority of Hispanics that's in that district, and Aldine ISD wasn't ready for that. So, baby, hey, I'm sorry. I hate that you feel that way.
Aldine barely have 60,000 students in the whole district. We just got through talking about a district that has almost 300,000 students.
What I'm saying is, but if we're going to break it down break it down as far as with the race, I mean, it's kind of like the same. It's a lot of majority of Hispanics that's in that district as well, but you got a Black superintendent. So my thing is that if she was proven that she is a leader and had the skill set to bring them out of TEA, that woman is proven to be given a job.
But I still we often blame the wrong bodies. I think that you should be blaming Black people in those communities that did not go out and fight for her. Number one, I think you should probably blame her for walking into a setup that she knew was a setup, because HISD has been screaming this for the last decade that they want a Latinx superintendent. So she knew that it was going to be a fight. She knew that it was going to be a fight. And this is why the show that we have, the upcoming town hall meetings that we have about we voted, now what, is so important. Because Black people need to make sure that they're voting on Black people to sit on these boards. If HISD had more Black people on the board, then they could fight better. They could negotiate better. But you have 3 Blacks and all the rest were Latinx and 1 Asian. There was no fight for the Black woman because the people did not show up for her to vote in Board of Trustees that would get the job done. So if you want the job done, vote in Board of Trustees that will vote in.
For a re-election, though.
Well, HISD used to be dominated by Black people, and it used to be dominated by Black people on the board. Like, let's be clear. It was dominated by Black people, but they started running for city council and HCC trustees, and they no longer cared about HISD. This is what happens when we stop caring.
Rhonda Skiller Jones was there today with the NAACP them. Oh, they were there. And also Jolanda Jones, she was there too. So
yeah, but that vote sticks. Yeah. That vote sticks. It just is that it was legal. It was nothing illegal about that vote. The vote sticks. Like,
well, they gonna change it.
So we gotta just change the school board. We gotta get our people in there, vote them out, get our people in there.
Yeah, you should run for HISD's board. Well, you don't live in HISD.
Who?
You.
That's in Klein. They sure ain't gonna pick me in Klein.
Well, you don't live in because you don't live in HISD. That's a problem.
I'm in Republicanville.
Well, there you go. Well, you chose to live in Republicanville, so you don't even get a vote. You don't even have to say. All you can do is talk on Twitter Power and be mad.
Put my blind side up and that's somebody tell me.
So let's move on to this party election because I'm really curious to get more out of Brother Marcus because this is where it gets good. Senator Lindsey Graham. I feel so uncomfortable saying senator when I talk about Lindsey Graham because he's such a pig. But Attorney Graham, because he is an attorney by profession, chose to go to the Secretary of State for Georgia, and which is a Republican, and pretty much find out from him, so how easy would it be for you to pretty much trash some of these votes? And so all through the news today, they've been calling for his impeachment as a senator. It's a whole lot of hoopla going on right now. And so I'm curious, what grounds do they really have? Was that really illegal?
They have no grounds. And we see this with Trump's other lawsuits spread out across, Michigan as well as Pennsylvania. But bringing it back to Georgia, it started off when Lindsey Graham and then a few other poll watchers said, you know what, these mail-in ballots that came in, you have people that are still counting the mail-in ballots, and that's illegal. But as an attorney, he should understand you just can't go try to file a frivolous lawsuit. You can't just go up in and just say, oh, hey, this is wrong. This is what happened, but you don't have any evidence. And a lot of judges are dismissing those cases, those claims, because there's no way that they can prove that. There's no way you can prove these mail-in ballots were still being counted after that time period. There's no way to prove that fraud occurred. So there are no grounds for either lawsuit. And then in Michigan, you had lawsuits being denied. And then as well as in Pennsylvania. So there's no way that Lindsey Graham can prove up any of these claims.
So I guess here's my question for both of you, Dr. Matthews and you, Attorney Marcus Astor, Esquire, with Astor Law Firm, LLC in Houston, Texas. My question for you both in this Lindsey Graham thing, right, is do you think the Republican Party will ever recover from this Trumpism? Because the Secretary of State is a huge Republican. The Lieutenant Governor of Georgia that has went crazy on Lindsey Graham is a true Republican, but yet they are at war. Do you think they can recover from this?
You know what? And I'm just going to say this. First of all, Trump was a liability to the Republican Party, period. Yeah. And so it's gonna take them at least 8 to 16 years for them to recover because of all the damage that he has done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and because what I'm used to seeing with Republicans, they're conservative, they carry themselves a certain way, they stick to the script, and that's that, right? Now you got Trump coming in here talking about grabbing people by the pussy. Then you turn around, you got him running around here. I mean, just calling shitholes and all kind of old crap. I mean, it's just like who is this guy? Like y'all really put this guy in the Republican
He's
Party?
muddied up the waters. Yeah, he's muddied up
like,
the waters.
like normally, and then you over here calling like being disrespectful, calling the man Sleepy Joe, and I've never seen a presidential debate like that. Like it's just like, who is this guy? He should have been a little like by himself. He should have been independent.
Yeah.
What about you, brother Marcus?
Party acts.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think the Republican Party will ever recover. I mean, maybe 20 years from now, but I really think there's going to be a slight split, or you're going to see a sect break off, because Trump was able to bring out like those true racist individuals. And we saw that this past weekend with that little rally he had in Washington when he pulled up, and you saw the Proud Boys and everybody out there fighting, trying to say, oh, hey, votes were illegal. But I really think that you're going to see a split. You're going to have those true conservatives that Dr. Matthews mentioned that carry themselves a certain way. And then you're going to have the people that still, want Trump in power, which will never happen. So they're going to go off and like start their own, or, get their own little group going. But I really think it's about to be a split in the Republican Party.
Yeah, I agree, because what I found the most fun about this whole thing is the main thing that they've been screaming is about illegal votes and illegal things happening with the voting. And yet we find today that the illegal was happening, but it was happening on behalf of the Donald Trump surrogates.
But
and
it's
it
the
was
same thing that he did with Russia back in 2016.
Yeah.
That's what he was impeached.
It's all been connected to Donald Trump. And so that's the beauty of it. It's poetic. This is poetic justice for Hillary Clinton. Like, I'm sure Hillary Clinton is in the house right now, drinking some wine, abusing Bill Clinton as he's dying and withering away, saying, you destroyed my campaign, and now look what happens to Trump. Like, she's probably saying, the blacks have always had my back. Like, I'm sure that this is poetic justice for her.
But wait a minute, I can see her saying that, and then also Bill Clinton's mixed child, the one that's mixed with black and white, tell him, get off my porch.
Well, I don't. That's not his child. I don't support that. That's another story. So what are y'all thinking about this scheming? So it came out, the story popped that Donald Trump has been transferring money from his campaign fund. The way he had it set up with the RNC is that he legally had it in the paperwork where he could use some of the money to go toward his Make America Great Again rallies that he plans on continuing even after the election. So it's been a big deal because it's been funding being transferred, I think over 50 million so far. So do y'all think that the Republican Party really just made a deal with the devil?
They created one. What they didn't create it, they gave him his platform, and now the devil is out just running loose. They opened the gates of hell.
They can't
Well, Barack Obama said, which we're going to talk about later, but Barack Obama did say that Donald Trump is just a symptom, but he's not the disease. And I thought that was so iconic, the way he put that he's only a symptom, but he's not the disease. The disease has always inherently been there, and that is called racism. But he is a symptom because he is that cold that will not go away. And I think that he's going to affect them for a long time because they are now forced to cater to him, because the number one reason Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, punk ass, and all the rest of them, the reason they're afraid to speak out against him even right now is because of January the 5th. They need him because they're afraid that if he tweets out and attacks them, they're going to risk a chance of really losing both of those seats in Georgia. So they have to keep him happy right now.
Well, first of all, I just find it interesting too, because Trump just went he was very petty when he said that Ted Cruz's wife was ugly. I'm like,
that was.
I'm like, wait a minute.
That moment,
he gets below the belt.
Yeah.
Even like when he did with the debate as far as son.
Yep.
Like you go below the belt. You make somebody want to come over there and windmill you and hit you with every leg. Like, come on, like it's a way how you play politics. Like he's like dirty with it, and he's below the belt. And
well, that's a good point, Dr. Matthew. So Marcus, let me ask you: Are we looking at a new way of politics?
We are, and I mean, I wouldn't even call him a true politician. So I don't really know if this is a new way of politics or is this just reality TV. This is just reality TV playing it out because he was never a politician, and we saw him on The Apprentice. We saw him on other shows, and he's acting the same way. And so the Republicans wanted him then, and this is what they're paying for it now. So I wouldn't call it a new way of politics. I really just think this is reality TV in a political seat. So. And
it feels like it though, because it's like every day it's something happening. Yeah. It's like, what's that food inside the day? Like what president is on here just tweet. Like who does it? Like you tweet more than a hood rat that's in the project.
Bless her heart. And so he out here tweet every day. He'll tweet, "I won. The votes are illegal. Count the vote. Stop the vote." He's tweeting that every day, and then Twitter will write that little thing underneath, say, this is we need to fact check this, or they'll put a little comment. Come on.
Twitter wears him out. but it's also weird because he'll say, I won. Like on one tweet, he'll say, no president has ever had the amount of votes that I have right now. But then the next tweet will say Joe Biden's votes that came out of the same bucket are illegal. So his votes are legal, but Joe Biden's are illegal. But we say that it only affects the Republican Party. But look at the transition. Well, look at this transition. How is this transition affecting the Democratic Party and the United States?
Because he's not gonna concede at all, right? He's not gonna do that and leave gracefully because you lost. You know what I mean?
But we don't need the conceding. We don't need the conceding. The conceding is not an issue.
He's not gonna do nothing. Like y'all, like what's gonna have to happen is just what Biden said. Trespassers will be escorted off. They're gonna have to escort his ass off. He's scared because he know he about to go to jail. That's what they. So he want to remain to be president as long as possible because you can't go to jail. So I'm saying,
but he's really holding off. But he's stopping a peaceful transition. And he's not doing it directly. But wait, he's not doing it directly. He's doing it indirectly through his surrogates that he appointed positions, starting with the general manager services director. That is the one that really is the keeper of the keys. And she's supposed to be bipartisan. No, partisan. No, bipartisan. She's supposed to be bipartisan, but she's not released because she says she's either waiting on A, Donald Trump to concede, or B, for the states to actually certify the votes, which they're coming up this week is the date that they start. So, Marcus, do you think that this is going to affect politics from here on the way this, like, will Joe Biden get into office and the Democrats say, you play the same game Donald Trump did? You appoint this person to that, you appoint that person to that will do exactly what we say. Will that happen?
Politics now.
Right. But I don't think Biden is going to take that. He's not going to do that because we already see the transition team he has put together. We see the people that he is putting into place. Now, why I'm concerned is that Donald Trump is firing everybody, but he also told his remaining people, hey, if you say anything to Biden's crew, I can terminate you right now, or don't say anything. And so he still has control over key essential people that Biden needs to speak with to make sure everything, is under control. More specifically, let's look at this coronavirus issue. We see that Biden put his whole medical team together and Trump is still withholding certain information about the whole pandemic. So this transition is not going to be smooth regardless, but I really don't think Biden will say, you know what, because Trump did this, I'm going to do the same thing. We heard, President-elect Biden speak at different conventions saying that, hey, look, we all need to work together. So I really think he's going to change this once he gets into office.
Well, I'm waiting on Trump to go to jail. I'm just waiting on them just to drag his old orange-looking ass and take him to jail.
Right.
Well, Joe Biden did say on yesterday, he said that he does not want people to think that his entire 4 years is going to be about putting Donald Trump on trial. But he also said that he's not going to influence states if that's what they want to do. They have the right to do it. He's going to let the law play out, but he's not going to use his 4 years for that. Do I believe him? Not necessarily, but I understand the political side of it because he feels like I don't want to really start a fight with him right now because I just really want this to be peaceful. But I like to remind people that of history, because history is the only thing that we can really stand on. John Adams, John Quincy Adams, and Bill Clinton are 3 times that we have that stand to show what came out negatively for the United States when there was not a peaceful transfer of power. And John Quincy Adams is the son of John Adams, so he was petty as shit like his dad, right? But what happened was John Adams refused to leave, and back then they were riding on chariots. And they had to. That's how they did the peaceful transfer in front of everyone. They rode on one horse thing together. Well, he refused to ride on that hoe with him and with Thomas Jefferson. He said, "I'm not. You got to whoop me. I'm not getting on there. Give me my own." And then he slid on out. Well, the problem was he never did release the information, and there was a war brewing. And Thomas Jefferson walked right into it, not knowing, because it was part of the Secret Service. They didn't call it Secret Service at the time. They probably called them the, let's say, Shadow Creekers. Okay. And then the second was John Quincy Adams. He was petty like his daddy. He refused to turn over anything, and they ended up taking it to the Supreme Court. And then Supreme Court sent it to the House of Representatives. So it wasn't until March when John Quincy Adams actually left out of the office. And guess what he did? He did not leave until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning of the transition of power. And so that person walked in. It was Ulysses Grant. Don't quote me on this, but check it out. But I think it was Ulysses Grant was who he was trying to play with. And then the last was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was in a conundrum, right? Because this was when the whole Al Gore and George W. Bush was dealing with the Florida thing for the 489 votes that they were fighting over. And so he didn't share information because it was so sensitive that he didn't know how that was going to go. Al Gore already knew because he was a sitting vice president. So he already knew, but Bush did not. So when Bush walked into presidency, he didn't know what was to come with September 11th, and it ended up ending with the 9/11 tragedies. So we know through history that we are playing in a dangerous moment when we're not sharing. That's why everybody's been talking about the vaccine is great, but the vaccine is only a vaccine if we don't have a plan to get it to the actual 339 million American people. And that's where the issue comes. So this transition is scary. It's scary, and people don't understand how scary it is. But a peaceful transition is so important because other countries are looking at us, and they're seeing how vulnerable we are right now. So if there was a North Korea ready to attack, this would be the perfect time. If there was a Russian attack for real, this would be the perfect time because they see how divided we are. This is the most electable election we've ever had. They've never had over 150 million Americans come out to vote. So this is really scary.
Yeah, you laid that right on out.
Yeah, well, don't quote me on it. I know Thomas Jefferson was. Well, I'm willing to put money on it that it was Ulysses Grant with John Quincy Adams. The only reason I'm willing to put money on it because Ulysses Grant was the first president that the House of Representatives had to approve. I had to appoint. So I know it was Ulysses. So I'm going to put money on it, baby. I'm going to put money up here. So while we're on Trumpisms, the isms of Trumpisms, so what are y'all thinking about this baseless election? Marcus, you kind of talked about it earlier, and I want you to expound some more about Trump's tweets. Like, how effective do you think it is that he's saying, "I won by a lot"? You know, like he's so simple.
Not effective at all. Like, I don't even know why he's doing that. And it's crazy because, just to think some old guy is sitting up in his bed at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just tweeting, "Man, I won. Come on, dog." But there's no evidence, and he really just needs to accept that. I really think, and I heard this on CNN. This is like the stages of death. You had you're in denial. And now he's, he needs to accept. He needs to go ahead and accept that right now and just kind of wither on out. And that's really what it is now. But those tweets, I mean, nothing's gonna come from that. Like, your supporter base is out. Just let it go, man.
Yeah. Candace, do you think that the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams should force him to concede? Like, should they try and force him to concede?
Both of them gonna burn in hell. How about that? You want to force him to concede? Send me to DC.
There you go.
You want? Well, we'll be in DC, baby. You will catch me January the 21st in Washington DC, the District of Columbia. I will be there on the spot, and I got my ticket, so you will see me in the place. I will not be in the peanut gallery. Okay, so you feel like they should force him out, or you feel like they should just say whatever? We'll see you January 20th.
I think that me personally, I think that he needs to, recognize that you lost, right? Yeah. Accept it, move on. Okay. If you feel that you don't, if you feel like, okay, well, I'm not ready. Okay, we'll run again. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then you're really not going to have that option because your ass going to jail. So
yeah. So Marcus, do you think that it would be worth him trying to run again? Like, what do you? Because he'll have the primary all over again. Do you think those Republican politicians that have their eyes on 2024 will be okay with this?
Not at all. Not at all. Like I said, I really think he's dividing the Republican Party, and that group that he's pulling with him will not be strong enough to have him to run again in 2024. Even if they started their own little party, the Trump party or the MAGA party, or whatever you want to call it, it will not be strong enough to put him up, as a front runner for 2024. So they just need to let that go. He can tweet.
It'll be worse. I think it'll be worse. I think it'll be worse.
Yeah,
because we're gonna have even more voters by then. The general population of the United States is shifting, and it's not shifting to the right. It's shifting far left, but it's still left. But it's still left. So I think that you're right. I think that it's a waste of time. So since we're talking about people being in the way, Barack Obama is on a book tour. We know that he was a surrogate for Biden, and now that the Biden run is over, we know that now he is promoting his book. So a lot of people, it's been all over the news. One of the arguments has been, is he making a mistake in using this moment to do this? So Marcus, I'm curious, what are your thoughts as an attorney? Because we know that Barack Obama is an attorney by profession, constitutional law. For those of you who may not have known, was his major in law school was constitutional law. So do you think that Barack Obama is making a mistake by bringing this attention to himself right now?
First, let me say this. I can't wait to pick up the book. But two, I don't think it's a big distraction for everything else that's going on. Only because had he been promoting during campaign season, during the actual election day, then yes, it would be a huge damage. It would be a huge blow. But I can't see any harm, because let's face it, the United States right now is already at rock bottom. I mean, him coming in to promote his book is not doing any more damage, in my opinion. And as an attorney, you kind of want to get your word out, get your name out there, and just kind of share. So he is providing, I would say, a little light to this whole situation that's going on. I don't really think it's damaging the transition at all.
Okay, Dr. Matthews.
I can definitely agree with that, because I mean, at this point right now, everybody really is focused on Trump with these temper tantrums. You know what I mean? And basically what Barack is doing is kind of giving a sense of peace per se, versus this bull crap that we got dealing with Trump, these temper tantrums that he having every 5 minutes. Yeah. So it kind of shows a distinction. You know what I mean? This is what class look like, and this is what trash does. That's my opinion.
So, well, I'm very pro-blackness. For anybody who watches the show, they should know this, but often my opinions can be very anti-blackness for some, because I have pushed back. I think that Barack needs to shut up. I think that he needs to push back, and I think that he needs to chill. And the reason I think that he should do all of those things is because the power exists in the hands of the journalists, not Barack Obama. So when Barack Obama does an interview, they make it about Donald Trump. They make it about politics. They make it about Joe Biden. And so until he can control those interviews, because the 60-minute interview, for example, that was the latest one he did. The 60-minute interview was all about Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and where America will go next. These are conversations that we need Biden to be having with journalists, not Barack Obama, the person he was vice president to. And then people forget that Donald Trump and Barack Obama had a personal beef. And so it becomes personal. So with the 60-minute interview, he talked about China. He talked about that, yeah, he feels like he made some mistakes with China. He talked about how he feels like Donald Trump was the response of white America to having a black president. So these things are all anti-Joe Biden because they are exclusive. They're only about Barack Obama and Donald Trump's beef, when we should only be talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden's beef right now.
Well, maybe he needs to create a red table like Will Smith and did, where they created
their
whole narrative.
Well, no, I think he needs to shut up or talk about his book. Like he needs to tell them, we're going to talk about my book. I'm not doing your interview. We're not talking about just any old person. They want these interviews with Barack Obama. So he has the power to say, we're not talking about that.
But it's just like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. I mean, the way how they handled that situation, they handled it perfectly.
Yeah, but we're talking about something with substance. I'm not trying to say that they don't have substance.
No,
but what was going on with Will Smith?
What they did is pretty much like what you said in a way.
No, it's not, because they control
the narrative.
No, but they control the narrative. No, they control the narrative of rumors dealing with celebrities sleeping with each other. There is a big difference, and that was literally their business.
I'm just talking about as far as with controlling the narrative. So
no,
I
think
need
to talk about his book.
Huh?
Well, I think he needs to talk about his book. I think he needs to say, we're going to talk about my book, or we're not going to talk.
Get rid of the other stuff. Yeah. Get rid of that and just talk about your book. But what I'm saying is, I think that he needs to control that pretty much like Will Smith them did. They had their little table, they controlled what they did, and that was the end of that.
Like,
Donald Trump, you come to me talking about this, that don't got nothing to do with my book.
Right, but that's something you take care of before interviews. What were you trying to say, Marcus?
No, that's what I'm saying. And then he needs to redirect it when they bring it up again.
No, yeah, but Dr. Matthews was saying just create his own platform to talk about the book. But then again, it kind of defeats the purpose, though, because I mean, just promote the book out there. Like,
you go towards to promote your book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So just do what you got to do. Forget the interviews.
Yeah. And I'm not mad at him for wanting to go on tour to promote his book, because, you know, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama became millionaires after they walked out the White House. They were not millionaires walking into the White House. Mm-hmm. So I understand that he's trying to get that bag. I get it, but he's not just your average Joe. He has power that we don't. Like, if I was to get an interview on 60 Minutes to cover my book, I'm going to talk about whatever the shit you want me to talk about, because I'm excited to be here. But with Barack Obama, he has the power to say, you want me on your show. Yep. So we're going to talk about this, or I'm going to do like Donald Trump and walk the freaking off the stage of your show. But I do understand. I get it. I just think that he has to understand. And the greatest example, you know, I love giving examples. Like Marcus is a coach of the TSU debate team. Right? That is one of his hats that he wears. He's an excellent coach of the TSU debate team, right? He had some of the best coaches. But away from that, Marcus is the coach of the TSU. I am a former coach of the TSU debate team. I would not walk around tournaments where Marcus is there with the TSU debate team trying to get his team to the win, and I walk around coaching his students so that they can keep running up to me rather than their coach, because I am a common face. So what I do, I go into the shadows so that he can take his position. Once he takes his position and he owns it, and I know that he's cemented, then it's okay for me to come around, because at that moment, he can comfortably say, I am the coach of the TSU debate team. You get it? So it's not saying that I'm not worthy or I didn't do anything. It's saying that I played my part. Now it's somebody else's part, and I'll come back to be your back, because Joe Biden is not just a regular person. Joe Biden was his VP. And I told you, Candace, the other day,
and keep it moving.
yeah, but I told you the other day, like on CNN, I remember like yesterday, it pissed me off after Joe Biden gave his acceptance speech. The first thing the woman said was, "Oh my God, it was so good. It wasn't as good as Barack's acceptance speech in 2012, but it was so good."
Try to create some type of division somewhere where they don't even.
But we don't need division within our own party right now.
But
when you have something so divisive already going on.
And the thing is, that's what they're trying to embed. You understand what I'm saying? So
but
you got to see the play before you become.
Yeah, but the question is he helping them right now? Because the lack of enthusiasm was what they threw on Joe Biden for the last 4 months, was he did not have the enthusiasm. So how can we capture that enthusiasm when the person that was his big brother keeps coming back that had all the enthusiasm? So I just think I love Barack Obama, but I think that Barack Obama should focus on his book and not the rest of that. Leave the politics out. Let Joe Biden focus on the politics. You focus on just what happened during your reign. Talk about those Pakistani children that you was dropping bombs on, or talk about Snowden and how you knew that what he was doing was correct and you were trying to help the CIA keep it hidden. Or don't talk about nothing. That's my point on that. Okay, next topic. Next topic. So I think this is the point that I really want to hear some Brother Marcus on this, because Brother Marcus is probably one of the most moderately conservative liberals I know. But I think that he is a combination of liberalism, moderate, and yet still very liberal. So do you think that the AOCs of the world, the Ilhan Omars of the world, do you think they're helping or hurting the Democratic Party right now?
I would say they're going to, and just like how I said, Trump has created his own little sect. I really think AOC may create her own little sect of the Democratic Party, and it could be for the good. It could be for the word. I don't know, but right now I really think she's creating her own little division in there. And the only reason why I'm saying is because, again, she's getting on Twitter. She's getting her viewpoints out, and we see it. And she's taking a different approach to the typical Democrat. And so I really think she's creating some kind of small group within the Democratic Party, and then those new millennials, the younger generation, they're going to come in, they're going to feed off of that, and then that will cause a shift in the Democratic Party. So I really think she's changing the Democratic Party, just as Trump changed his own Republican Party. I really see little sects being created, and then eventually they will change the typical Republican, typical Democrat.
Dr. Bill.
So let me ask you this then. What is your opinion? And Wendell, hush, because I know what you're going to say. Okay, so what is your opinion as far as with the MJ Hager and Royce West situation?
Oh, Lord. That trash. That's just, there you go. Exactly. Shade. I don't even.
But what does that have to do with this?
No, because with the shift of the Democratic Party.
Yes.
But neither one of them are far left. Both of those are moderate Democrats.
But it's the fact that we got the fact that MJ Hager is out there, and whoever's watching now, I hope y'all ain't trying to come at me or whatever. But look, I had a discussion about MJ Hager a while back with some people, and it was just go ahead and put it down. Just sit down, because it's like the Democratic Party is trying to be inclusive of everyone. So we're going to try to get whatever we can to represent the Democratic Party. And this is going to be the new face of the Democratic Party. We don't need that right now, and so I sit it down.
So you felt Royce could have done a better job than MJ in the state election?
I don't, but I'm just saying, right? Okay. We don't have anybody to choose from now. So that's the way I'm saying it. I don't think
Royce. I think we had Sheila Jackson Lee. I think Sheila Jackson Lee and Sylvester Turner, if we want someone to walk into Senate that could actually win Texas, I think that they are all trying to do other things, the ones who could do it. You know what I mean? Like the namesake.
She ain't trying to go nowhere. She trying to stay where she is.
She's comfortable. She's comfortable. But I think that Sheila Jackson Lee has a name that could win Senate. Like
she does.
And that's a problem for me, that we have people that could win these things, but they don't run for it. And so we go get the Royces or the MJ Haggers, but we're ignoring the ones that really do have that strength, you know, to pull it. And so they're looking over them. But let me get back to the far left though, because I still don't understand what that had to do with far left. But
let me just say the reason how I tied that in is because when you asked the question about will it change the face of the Democratic Party, that was an issue that can possibly change the face of the Democratic Party also, which that'll be a whole nother show.
Yeah, because neither one of them are far left. See, the far left, the whole thing with the far left these are activists. Like these are people who their politics are part of activism, not politics. Yeah. And so that's what makes them far left, is because they're not trying to compromise. They're saying we're tired, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're gonna deal with it. And if you know politics, you know that's just simply not the way politics work. It's a give and take. You know, it is a give and take. So I agree with Marcus and Dr. Matthews. We talked. I think we all three agree on this, that the AOCs of the world, they have to find their pocket and sit in it. I think the reality is they're activists, but they don't get activism. Don't pay enough. So they go into politics because they need a check. But then they go into politics and they don't want to play by the rules. And they end up being like a Bernie Sanders and said, I'm 75 years old and I've passed 2 things in the Senate. I got 2 post offices changed to names of white people. How about that? So that's the reality of what happens when you don't know how to compromise. But and then Marcus, you said something else that was key that I hadn't really thought about, but you compared her social media to that of Trump. You know, and that is very true. So it brings it full circle to what we talked about with Trump. Is he helping the Republican Party or is he hurting the Republican Party? And I think we came up with an overall consensus that he was hurting. He's going to hurt the Republican Party. And I think that the AOCs will hurt the Democratic Party, because you cannot shut out 80% of your body. People keep saying, well, the far left, it's not enough of them, because we all know that the main electorate is going to always be 35 to 65. That is your main electorate. So those are not those far left liberals. And then what is far left? I consider myself a lefty, but I'm not far left because I have intelligence. I find far left to be people who lack intelligence. They don't know how to apply logic. They don't understand that if we're going to play blocks, you have to give me one of your blocks and I got to give you one of mine. Bitch, you can't take, you can't take all the blocks, because the way I'm sorry, but the way they play the game, and now we see why I stay on restriction on Facebook.
This is uncut. You forgot?
Hence why I stay on restriction.
Uncut. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, they don't understand. They don't know how to. They don't play well with others.
Right.
You know, they don't play well with others. You have to be able to compromise. It's not fair to say that. The thing is, we love saying we're not monolithic. We're not monoliths. But as soon as somebody thinks differently than the way we think, they become a bad person.
Right.
But isn't the entire definition of not being monolithic saying that we don't have to think the same way? But the AOCs want to bully. She uses Facebook. Just yesterday, she was on Facebook wearing Joe Biden out, pretty much threatening him. If you don't pick who I want you to have, you're going to lose the far left. Who made you the voice of the far left? And then the Black Lives Matter. I love Black Lives Matter, but they're trying to bully, they're trying to bully the governor of California, saying that if he don't choose one of those 2 black women that are in the House of Representatives to replace Kamala Harris, there's going to be some problems. And they straight up put on their Facebook page, this is non-negotiable. Who in the hell are you to think that you are in the ability to tell anybody what they should do? That is not how you negotiate.
Right.
That is simply not the way it works.
And see, they're using social media as their power. That's pretty much their only source of power, and using that to bully, as you said. But it's crazy because they've resulted to that, and they're hurting themselves. And so it like I said, this is pretty much causing damage to the Democratic Party, and it will change the Democratic Party.
It will, and that's where we're going to get those four parties, right? Because I see the Trumpism becoming back a Tea Party. So you're going to see a divide in the Republican Party and with the Tea Party and the Republicans. And then the Democratic Party is going to have this liberal issue with the ignorant. So it's going to be these far left and then the moderates, right? But who's going to lose is going to be Democrats, because guess what? Here's the thing. The Trump followers are not people who were normally voting Republican anyway. These are trailer trash. These are uneducated white boys from their hood, you know, whatever that looks like, dirt road boys. You know, these are those people that did not normally vote Republican. They did not normally vote at all. You know, so it's not going to necessarily affect their electorate, but it will affect the Democratic electorate.
Yeah. Yep, because they didn't vote at all until he activated that racially charged platform, and that's when they started coming from out the trailer parks. They started coming from out County Road 1 and all this other old stuff.
And then he activated black people that, you know, that said they would never vote in any election, and then they went to go vote for Trump. And so that kind of, you know, threw me out. Did I strike a nerve? Oh Lord.
I mean, no, go. Get it out.
Be quiet on that. I thought we weren't good.
No, I want you to talk because I don't like those Negroes. Go.
Okay. I'm just saying, because I get on Twitter and, you know, I'll see, oh, I voted for Trump because of X, Y, and Z. I'm like, no, you didn't. Come on, man. Why would you do that? And so he's pulling out these people who would not vote at all. He's getting all of those votes. And I really think if the Democratic Party would have targeted those black people right there, they could have won them. But it was like the Democratic Party, they think, oh, hey, black people are going to automatically vote for us. We don't have to campaign hard for them. Boom. So they let them go. And then Trump went to go get them, promised them something, promised them what the platinum plan or whatever plan he wanted to give them. And then they went ahead and jumped up and said, I'm going to give you tax breaks. And then they fell for it and went over there with him. So they're going to start supporting him.
Yeah, but you know, I don't, and you know, I'm not, well, anybody who knows me knows that I was a proud Republican for 15 years. So I'm not a cheerleader for the Democratic Party. But one thing that I think a lot of Republicans that were against Trump, especially the Lincoln Project, were able to see about the Democratic Party that other people did not see is that it's not the Democrats' fault that Trump was able to get those black men with little dick energy, or it wasn't their fault that he was able to get Cubans and Venezuelans. There was nothing that the Democrats could have done to get these people, right? Because the only thing they could have done would have hurt the other black people that they were pumping. They were pumping black women. That was it. It is what it is. We always say black women deserve. Black men always say black women deserve. But then black women were finally getting what they deserved, and black men said, "But what about us? They not paying no attention to us." I put on Facebook right before the election that if I hear one more black man talk about the tax break that Joe Biden is going to raise their taxes, sir, you're a garbage man. He says 400,000 and above. That ain't you. That's your reality. You know, but we're headline hoes, you know. So the black people that were running for Donald Trump and the Cubans and the Venezuelans that was running for Donald Trump, they were headline hoes. They were not willing to read the whole article. They were taking the top line. So I don't think that it's fair when people say stuff like the Democrats took for granted the black vote. How did they take for granted the black vote when they have produced our first black president, our first black female vice president? They have produced all of the black mayors of every city that has ever been black, and they have produced over 95% of the black senators, and they produced 75% of the black representatives, House of Representatives. So to say that they disregard the black community is an unfair slug, which people love to throw at the Democrats, that they disregard the black vote. I don't think that they disregard the black vote. I think that black voters want to be coddled by the Democratic Party. But black voters have to always remember that they are only 12.7% of the electorate. If black people with their 12.7% and Latinx with their 16.5% come together, they will still not beat that 77.5% white America that we have, right? So if everybody get within their race and we say we're voting with our race, white people will win every time. So when we say black people are not getting what they deserve, we have to remember that their main white people are the ones voting in our black people. Kamala Harris wasn't the choice for Joe Biden because he needed the black vote, because she had to suspend her campaign because she did not have the black vote. He wanted Kamala Harris because she had a white electorate that he could not tap into. We have to remember that we are greater together. It feels good and it sounds good to say that it needs to be all black all the time, but this is it. Ain't gonna stay open if they waiting on only Negroes to come through there and eat their food. Because we also the ones, when we get something that's too greasy, we taking a picture of it, putting it on social media. I ain't ever going there again.
Yeah.
But the White House gonna go in there and say, "Oh, this is good." Take just like banana, you know. We have to understand the power of togetherness. Yeah. We have to, because it's so unfair to Democrats. It's so unfair. First off, the Democratic Party is made up of their leadership is 45% black, 2% Hispanic. Do you hear how unfair that is when we say they're taking our stuff for granted? Well, is Negroes leading them? So you said the Negroes took you for granted? Like, who took you for granted, sis? You know, but you can't have everything. And we want everything. We want the whole kit and caboodle because of slavery. And I get it, because I feel like I want everything. But I also understand that sometimes in order for me to get everything, I may have to give a little there. I may have to share a little there. You know, we have to figure out a way to travel together. We have to. Ooh, Lord, this has been good, guys.
Yes, it has. You know, we'll be over here.
Well, but make sure y'all are share, and like on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. What's our name? Truth to Power Uncut. Go on YouTube and make sure you subscribe. I know this has been a great conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
I love it.
Brother Marcus Esther, attorney Marcus Esther. I don't know if I heard somebody say you're not supposed to say attorney Marcus Esther Esquire. You're supposed to either say attorney Marcus Esther or Marcus Esther Esquire, but I'm from the hood. So I'm going to say attorney Marcus Esther Esquire because the brother earned that. Okay, he earned that.
One from the hood that don't know what downed means.
I don't know what downed means. Well, you have to remember, my grandfather was a pastor. But by the time I was born, all my family had already stopped sinning. They were secretly sinning by the time we got here. We had to hear about it when we got older, all the wrong they did. But by the time I came, they was trying to act like they was perfect, so we was walking around like Stepford children. So, baby, I had to get, when I got to college, when I started doing all my wrong, I was like, I got to make up for old time.
You had to come across Mason Road.
Baby, I was at Sonic on Mason having fights, but it was regular fights. We weren't shooting at the folks and stabbing.
You talking about the Sonic that was next door to churches?
Yes. But we weren't having regular fights. We weren't running people over in cars. We were sitting without a hand. When one person jumped in, it was a big mess. Now it'd be 20 people on one person. Baby, it's a new world out there for me. Guys, I want y'all to make sure y'all check out Marcus Esther. I know that he is Marcus Esther on Facebook. Well, can you just tell us your tags and then we'll make sure we put them in there? But can you tell us all your tags?
Right. Marcus Esther on Facebook, attorney Marcus Esther on Instagram, and then Marcus Esther _ on Twitter. My website listed here, www.esteratlaw.com. If you need any legal assistance, please go ahead, log on to my website, and you can request some free consultation there, up to 30 minutes. So anything past that, I'm going to have to bill you. But please go ahead, stop by my website, and if you need any legal assistance from criminal, civil, whatever you need. And if I can't help you, I can find someone who can. So go ahead, check out my website, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
That's how, and if you know anything about me, you know I'm all about quality. You pay for what you want. So if I was Marcus and you came to him for 30 minutes of consultation, I'd be asking me to I'll be asking you your mama name, your daddy name, your childhood, what elementary school did you go to? Okay, now we're at 29 minutes. What's the problem? Amen. We're here to make a coin. We're here to make a bag because, I mean, it is what it is. I was just telling this girl today that I just ordered this new Prada mask. And she was like, why you got a Prada mask? Because I buy quality. Quality. So and he is quality. He is a qualified attorney, and he already has receipts at such a very young age, and just recently graduate of Thurgood Marshall of the with 2 E's, Texas Southern University, 3100 Cleburne Road, Houston, Texas 77004. I forgot the president's name because he's an interim. Amen. So,
the shade.
Bring it back up. Get the fan. Get the fan.
But make sure, guys, and before I go to Dr. Matthews, I want to tell y'all one of my favorite quotes. Oh, we also want to thank Dr. GL, Dr. Goodluck. He is always the man behind the scene that keeps us all together, even if he hurts our feelings or we hurt his. Okay, but that could be a tagline for someone. If I may hurt your feelings, or you may hurt mine, but you will still.
That sounds like a T-shirt.
Okay, but I want to make sure y'all know one of my favorite quotes. I use it often, but it's just one of my favorite quotes by James Baldwin. It is, "We are trapped in history, and history is trapped inside of us." So that is definitely something very fitting for everything we talked about tonight, because all of this is a part of history. That's why it repeats itself over and over and over again. Systemic racism, institutional racism, racism within our own culture and community, that we divert into what we call prejudice. All of these things are very important, and we are greater together, and that's something that we believe in. So we may laugh, we may curse, we may do all of these things, but at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure that we are empowering each other and hopefully empowering someone else. Dr. Matthews, you have always been that girl.
I thought that was interesting that you did that quote, because I'm going to do a quote from our president-elect, Biden. Okay.
Come on, Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe said this. If you hear nothing else I say tonight, hear this. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain president. I'm going to say that one more time. I want to say it for the people in the back. If you hear nothing else I say tonight, hear this. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president.
I wonder who was he talking about. I wonder who was he talking about.
That was the quote that he left when he was talking about Trump.
Oh, I know. I'm being funny. I was being facetious. I knew he wasn't talking about Barack Obama and the 30,000 people he killed in Pakistan.
Oh, Lord.
That's another story. But thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Remember, we're here every Tuesday and Thursday. This Thursday, make sure you tune in. We are starting something new, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled because it's coming hard. Want to send a shout out to Dr. Aurelia Johnson, our co-host, and of course Dean Snell. Dean is preparing for the end of the school year. It's very hard with him being an educator and also working on his graduate degree because he has to give midterms and then he has to take not finals. He has to give finals and then he has to take finals. So God punish him for what he did to those kids. And then Sister Aurelia has just finished her PhD at Howard University. So she is now preparing for her ending destination so that she can officially be the Dr. Aurelia Johnson. And we are extremely proud of her.
And joining the club.
Yes, because we know. Oh, and Marcus, Dr. Matthews is our sister with Texas because she went to Texas A&M. But that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
I heard she was first fam. Did I hear that correctly? So
yes, she is. She seemed calm. She seemed calm a lot.
And that's why I was so on my Sora Grenada.
Yeah.
Grenada. Grenada should be upset with her parents. But
you know,
I mean, Latham is all right, but Grenada.
Get Wendell.
Grenada, like come on, Grenada. Grenada, I want to see her to see what she looked like. Grenada, baby, they predestined her face, but that's okay. Lord. That's okay. But I'm sure Grenada is a beautiful woman inside out. I'm sure more inside than out, but I'm sure she's a beautiful woman somewhere. So thank you all so much. And until next time, we're going to see you all later. Thank you so much, Brother Marcus, for being here. It's been wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
May the shade be with you.
I like that, Dr. Matthews. I like that.
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
And that little girl was me.